Continuing coverage tonight, it's been 19 months since two Birmingham firefighters were shot at Fire Station 9 in Norwood.
Interim Birmingham Police Chief Michael Pickett announced today the arrest of 22-year-old Damien McDaniel in that shooting. McDaniel's been charged with capital murder and the death of Jordan Melton and attempted murder in the shooting of Jamal Jones. McDaniel has already been charged in 2 mass shootings, and now police say he's charged in additional homicides. The death of Mia Nixon in January of 2024 and the murder for hire death of a UPS worker, Anthony Love Jr., on April 9th.
There are crimes, and then there are atrocities. Events so brutal, so incomprehensible, they leave entire cities paralyzed with fear. This is one of those stories. Birmingham, Alabama, known for its rich history and deep-rooted community, was shattered over the span of 14 months. The city became a hunting ground, its streets stained with blood, innocent lives stolen, families broken, and at the center of it all, one name echoed in hushed whispers: Damien McDaniel. Accused of one of the deadliest crime sprees in recent history, McDaniel allegedly left 14 dead and 30 others wounded. Mass shootings, assassinations, a trail of carnage stretching from fire stations to Crown nightclubs. But who is Damien McDaniel? A hitman? A madman? Or something far worse? The answers may be more terrifying than the crimes themselves.
Multiple gunmen believed to be on the run after a mass shooting on the south side. Here's how it looked moments after those shots were fired in 5 Point South around 11 o'clock last night. You can see dozens of police and emergency crews responding to the scene. Here's what we know so far. 4 people are dead, 4 people with life-threatening injuries, and dozens of people have been shot, and that's all according to Birmingham police. Investigators tell us multiple shooters fired on people in the open on Magnolia Avenue. The FBI and the ATF also joining the investigation. No arrests have been made. Now, the deadly mass shooting taking place in the heart of 5 Point South. We're told it happened on Magnolia Avenue near 20th Street. And we have live local late-breaking team coverage for you this morning. WVTM 13's Zoe Blair, she's been on the scene all night speaking to witnesses. Now she's at UAB Hospital. WVTM 13's Emma Owen will lead us off. Emma, what have you learned from police this morning?
Well, Jarvis, police say that of the dozens of people who were shot here last night, they were on the streets and on the sidewalks here in 5 Point South. And just to give you some context here, this is a very popular entertainment district here in Birmingham. So typically on a weekend, it would be very crowded, and it was last night when those shots rang out. Now, again, 4 people are dead, 4 others are fighting for their lives. Officer Truman Fitzgerald says they're working hard to find the people who are responsible. They're also trying to find out if the suspects ran up or fired shots from a car. Additionally, whether or not Glock switches were used. Fitzgerald says they're working with multiple agencies to get these answers.
Rest assured, we are going to do everything we possibly can to make sure that we uncover, identify, and hunt down who was ever responsible for preying on our people this morning.
Now, Fitzgerald is pleading with community members to come forward with information, anybody who may have witnessed what happened last night. They're also asking local businesses here in the 5 Point South area, any business owners who may have captured what happened last night on their surveillance footage, they're asking them to come forward with information as well. You can call police with that information or Crime Stoppers if you prefer to remain anonymous.
It started with fire and gunfire. 2 firefighters shot at their own station. One survived, one didn't. It was a senseless act committed in broad daylight. But what police didn't realize then was that this was only the beginning.
First developing news in the case of a Birmingham firefighter who died after being shot on the job. The main suspect in the 5 Point South mass shooting now facing charges in the death of Jordan Melton. Thanks for joining us at 5. I'm Guy Rawlings.
And I'm Brittany Decker. We have team coverage for you tonight. Magda Lusant is standing by at the fire station where Melton was shot.
But first, let's check in with WVTM 13's Lisa Crane, live and local outside the police department. Officers announced multiple new charges for McDaniel today. Lisa.
That's right. The man police believe is responsible for 2 mass shootings and multiple deaths, now accused in several other cases. At a press conference today, authorities announced Damien McDaniel is charged with the murders of Mia Nixon, who was gunned down in front of her home, Anthony Love Jr., he was shot and killed at a UPS facility where he worked, and Jordan Melton, one of 2 Birmingham firefighters who was shot at Fire Station 9 in Norwood in the summer of 2023. That murder has gone unsolved for 19 months.
While some of these investigations may require more time, rest assured that we are tirelessly working every day towards bringing perpetrators to justice with efficiency and meticulous work carried out by our homicide detectives.
Now, since the tragic shooting there at Fire Station 9, the department has adjusted its safety plans to make sure firefighters feel safe at work. WVTM 13's Magdala Lusant is live right now outside the fire station in Norwood to tell us all about those changes. Magdala?
So, Lisa, Chief Moon tells me when he took his position in 2020, they added cameras to all of the fire stations. But when Sergeant Jones and Jordan Melton were shot here at Fire Station 9, they knew there was more work to be done. On January 12th, Birmingham police say that Damien McDaniel walked into Fire Station 9 that morning and shot at firefighters Jordan Melton and Sergeant Jamal Jones multiple times. That day, authorities say the fire station was open to the public should anyone need help. Well, shortly after that shooting, Chief Moon said they closed the fire station down for a few months to allow employees to seek counseling. In between that time, he says they worked on expanding their safety plan and giving some first responders the option to come back to their post at Fire Station 9. He said most of them came back, but there are others who did not.
We've added additional security cameras. We added door access control. We updated our station security policy. So we wanted to make sure that we were doing everything that we could, and we're still working to add some additional security measures with BPD and the help of the mayor's office. So it's constantly evolving. We're constantly trying to do more.
There was a third person in the fire station that day. That hero has not been named at all during this time, but he was on site to get more help for Sergeant Jamal Jones and Melton. Moon tells me Jones is doing well, but still has some recovery to go through. Moon gave Jones an update on McDaniel today, and he said that he was happy to hear that charges have been filed. So the fire department aren't the only ones in our community who are connected to this recent news with Damien McDaniel, and there are other family members across Birmingham who are dealing with this and still processing this. But Chief Moon does have a message to those family members, and you'll hear that at 6.
Just months later, another victim fell, a UPS worker, gunned down in a parking lot after finishing his shift. His crime? No one knew. His execution? Precise, cold, like someone had been hired to do it. Then, a young woman, murdered outside her home. The violence escalated. Victims from all walks of life, innocents and criminals alike, began falling, one by one. And each time, the city held its breath, waiting for the next name to surface in the ever-growing list of the dead. The city barely had time to mourn before the true horror began. 2 mass shootings, 4 dead at the Hush Lounge, 4 more at a private club. And in both cases, the numbers didn't stop at the bodies. 17 others were left wounded, their lives forever changed. These weren't random acts of rage. This was controlled chaos. A storm moving through the city, orchestrated by unseen hands. The police were running out of answers. Who was next and why? Then came the killings that felt different. A man murdered inside his own home. A mistake, police say. He wasn't even the target. A mother shot while simply enjoying a night out at a bar. Another man ambushed in the streets, gunned down in cold blood. It was as if someone was erasing people from existence and doing it at will. Then came the revelation that changed everything. McDaniel wasn't just another name on a list of suspects. He was something much more chilling. A man who had spoken openly about murder before committing it. A documentary, a YouTube video that had already racked up hundreds of thousands of views. In it, McDaniel and his associate, Naquan Lawler, didn't just admit to a life of violence. They laughed about it, boasted, smirked at the very idea of mercy. They ain't sparing nobody, so why should I? The word sent chills down the spines of investigators. Had the city been watching a killer in real time, parading himself in front of the world before going on one of the bloodiest rampages in Alabama history? The documentary was supposed to be an expose of violence. Instead, it might have been a confession in disguise.
5 Points South mass shooting still haunts Birmingham's South Side more than a month later.
WVTM 13's Bryce Oselin spoke with an international filmmaker about what he discovered while working here in the state.
And would you say people in the streets are good members of society?
Don't try to single us out. Everybody want to kill somebody.
The footage you're seeing is from the YouTube documentary, This City Eats People Alive, the most dangerous place in Alabama.
They find in the front yard. He hop up, try to go grab your Draco, boom, shot go off.
The documentary, released on October 18th, has nearly 500,000 views on YouTube, and an appearance from
do the same thing to you, so why not do it to them? Why show them compassion when they ain't gonna show your folk no compassion?
Naquan Lawler and Damien McDaniel, the suspect charged in the 5 Points South mass shooting.
Hey, for what? They ain't gonna spare me. Yeah, wait, when if their son end up dead and they come to court, they ain't gonna spare me in the courtroom. Hey, I know it. You hear me?
The creator of the documentary, Aaron Singh, is based out of London and travels across the United States, highlighting the country's most dangerous communities.
The reason I've come to Alabama because I heard it's one of the most murderous states alongside Mississippi in America.
Singh says he wasn't comfortable with an interview, but gave us permission to use his footage.
Why is it so bad, in your opinion?
I ain't gonna lie, I say beef for real, hood beef.
Authorities continue their investigation, listing McDaniel as a key suspect. The Birmingham Police Department couldn't be reached for a comment on the documentary.
Well, Damien McDaniel, the man charged in at least 2 of Birmingham's mass shootings, says he's not guilty.
Yeah, he was back in court today to enter that plea before a judge. WVTM 13's Magdala Lusant was there. You spoke with his new attorney, Magdala. What did he have to say?
Yeah, so McDaniel's new attorney is John Robbins, is his new attorney, and he takes over after McDaniel's previous lawyer removed himself because of a conflict of interest. But Robbins tells us while speaking with his client, he describes him as a very gentle, kind person, and he's well-spoken. McDaniel is charged with killing 11 people and shooting and injuring 30 others in Birmingham last year. Now, some of these victims were in the 5 Points South mass shooting, the shooting outside of the Trendsetter Lounge in North Birmingham, and other separate deadly shooting incidents across the city. In court, McDaniel pled not guilty to murder and capital murder charges against him. His lawyer, Robbins, tells me when he met with McDaniel, he said he's not guilty.
If you sit down and talk to him, he's a very gentle, kind person. He's well-spoken. And so the Damien that I first met, and granted, I only met him, we're just in this case, but that Damien doesn't fit the mold of somebody who would do these type of crimes. And that's all I'm saying is, so until we know more.
Robbins says he wants to make sure the process is fair for his client. His job is to protect McDaniel. As for what's next, he's waiting to see what evidence the prosecutors have to support these charges.
And breaking news on the 4 more murders linked to Damien McDaniel, who is now accused of killing 14 people, including Birmingham firefighter Jordan Melton. And Birmingham police say McDaniel's violent crime spree started with Melton's murder in July 2023.
He is also charged with killing Mia Nixon in January of 2024 and UPS employee Anthony Love Jr. in April of 2024. Officers say at least one of those cases was a murder for hire. And remember, McDaniel is also accused in 11 other homicides, including 2 mass shootings. Your reporter, Jillian Brooks, peeling back the layers to this complex investigation, starting off our team coverage.
Sarah Morgan. Today, Mayor of Birmingham, Randall Woodfin, says that it is horrific that one person could cause so much pain and damage throughout the city. Now, Damien McDaniel is now linked to 14 homicides in the city of Birmingham, including the 5 Point South mass shooting that happened in September and the shooting and killing of Jordan Melton at Fire Station 9 in 2023.
Birmingham police say the capital murder charges McDaniel is facing relating to the deaths of Nia Nixon and Anthony Love Jr. are murder-for-hire cases and more complex investigations. His co-defendant, Charles Nance, is also facing capital murder charges. Interim Police Chief Michael Pickett says that criminals are getting savvy, but there is no such thing as a perfect crime, and no matter how long it takes, they will continue to work to bring these victims justice. Chief Pickett thanked federal agencies for their help in investigating this case. Birmingham police partnered with the FBI, ATF, and Secret Service in the investigation. Former U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Alabama, Jay Town, says working with federal agencies provides more eyes on the case.
I'm sure that the federal agencies gave great intelligence, crime intelligence, to BPD. But if anything, it's just more eyeballs on a particular case, on a particular criminal defendant, and that's always going to help. Our side of the battlefield, the good guys, the law-abiding citizens, law enforcement, our side of the battlefield can never be too crowded.
Now, McDaniel is in the custody of the Alabama Department of Corrections on no bond. Your reporter live in Birmingham, I'm Jillian Brooks for WBRC 6 News, on your side.
Well, a year and a day after Birmingham police say McDaniel walked into Fire Station 9 and shot and killed firefighter Melton, they say that he committed a mass shooting at the Trendsetters Lounge. 4 people were killed there, 10 others wounded. Then Birmingham police say 1 month later, he shot and killed Charlie Moore in a housing complex in North Birmingham known as Vice Hills. And then in September, McDaniel is accused of killing 6 people over a 4-day period. One of those was the Hush Lounge shooting, the shooting right outside, and then shooting and killing Jamarcus McIntyre. That happened less than 24 hours after the mass shooting.
There's no perfect crime. And our jobs in local, state, and federal law enforcement is to figure out where they slipped up. That's our job. So at times it takes a little bit more time to get that done, but we never stop working. We never stop working on that. And today we're very happy to say that we now have formal charges for these murders, several murders.
And right now is the time to download the WBRC News app. We'll keep you on top of any new developments and charges in these new shootings. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. And coming up at 4:30, more team coverage for you with your reporter Bria Chapman getting reaction from Fire Chief Moon to these new charges.
Today, Damien McDaniel sits behind bars, awaiting trial. No bond, no escape. But the case remains shrouded in mystery. Who hired him? How deep did the connections run? And most chillingly, how many more names were supposed to be on that list? Justice may be in its way, but for the victims, for their families, the nightmare is far from over. Because the hardest part of any horror story isn't the killings. It's what comes next. Some stories haunt a city forever. Some names never fade from memory. Damien McDaniel's story isn't just about violence. It's about fear, control, and the kind of evil that operates in plain sight. But even now, as the city tries to heal, one question lingers in the minds of those who remember. Was this really the end? All right, y'all, there y'all have it, man. That's the crazy story of Damien McDaniels. I mean, hey, his first name is Damien. You know, that's the name of the devil, you know. Call him Damien, whatever the case is. But hey, get in that comment section. Let me know what y'all think about this. And you already know what it is, man. Drillers and trappers, we out here trapping and drilling 247. Don't go nowhere. Watch that next video. Good!